everyone. Welcome back. I'm so excited to chat today. We are sitting down today with a friend and a student of mine, Jacqui Acree. Welcome to the show.
Yay. I'm so happy to be here, Gemma.
It is such a pleasure to have you. So Jacqui, for folks who are newer to you, you are in a really interesting industry, one in which I just love actually, this is something for me that I want to get more into. So tell people what it is that you do.
Well, I'm an emotional freedom techniques practitioner, which people probably more commonly would know it as tapping.
Yeah.
So EFT tapping. That's what I primarily do. What I teach through tapping are the skills of self-compassion, emotional agility, and stress resilience, primarily to highly sensitive women. And I say usually in midlife. They're women who, it can be a stage, not an age. So I definitely do not get hung up on the age part, but generally speaking, they're women who have tried really hard for a really long time. They've tried, the positive thinking. They've tried the push through or breakthrough models, like just keep going, give up what you want now so that you can have what others won't have later. That kind of thing. And so I really help them move from really deep disappointment and feelings of maybe failure or self-sabotage, procrastination, like feeling like we're wondering, is there something wrong with me? Because I'm not where I thought I would be at this stage of life.
How did you get into this work, Jacqui?
Living it.
Right.
Absolutely living it, right? For sure. I was really successful with the business that I had before this one and didn't feel it. Thought that I should be a lot happier than I was, thought that I should be enjoying it more than I was. It just was never quite good enough. I was never good enough and the business was never good enough. So I was always on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And I really felt chronically stressed out, like constant fight or flight, overwhelmed, anxious. I sound like a real treat, right? So I think externally things looked great. And I wasn't miserable. I think that's why the midlife thing is so important, because I wasn't miserable and I tolerated it for, decades really, because I kept thinking I was going to get through it or get past it. Mm-hmm. And then I sort of hit, and I say midlife, that's such an open range. I'm 44 right now. So this was actually a few years ago for me already, which wouldn't traditionally be thought of as midlife, but it was this point in life where I had been living a certain way for a period of time, thinking that it was going to work for me. And I was following all the self-help guidance. I was really committed. I'm a smart person. I'm growth oriented, high achieving. And I realized I can't keep doing this in the same way because I'm not getting where I want to go. Not just professionally, I had hit an income ceiling that I couldn't break through. And I was like, what is going on here? Why can't I just bust through this? And so I tried even harder. And I tried even harder. And all I felt was exhausted and stressed out. And so for me, it's really, that's how I came to the work, is by trying to get through that myself. Tapping was something that I'm not a woo-woo girl. So I think one of the things you say, Gemma, is I'm the go-to gal for, you fill in your blank. And I've sort of adopted that as I'm the go-to gal for, the science part of the conversation of tapping. I'm a science girl. It doesn't mean that there's no room for woo-woo. It's just I'm more comfortable with evidence-based research, and the research in tapping is relatively new. So we've got about 20 years of research. It's picking up speed, but research, as we all know, good research, let's qualify that, it requires funding. Yeah. And so it is picking up some speed, but at first, when I first discovered tapping, I thought it was way too woo-woo, very weird. How does tapping on our bodies and talking about our thoughts and feelings actually help? I was way more invested in if I think certain thoughts, and if I have a gratitude journal, and if I have my miracle morning routine, and I drink the green smoothies, that's going to solve this problem I'm trying to solve. This invisible wall, it's going to dissolve it. That's how I'm going to get through. And I did try that for a number of years. And it didn't work for me. So if it's working for someone else, then keep doing what's working for you. But there are a lot of us that is not working for. So then what else is there? So I was introduced to tapping, blatantly refused to try it for literally a number of years. And then I finally, I think I'm very stubborn. So I think I finally just got desperate enough. I was like, this isn't working. I read some of the science and then I did have an experience with it. And that experience, so I had the explanation, which helped me to feel like safe giving it a go, like willing to give it a go. And then the experience and how it's not always like this. It's not always like a mountaintop experience, but the experience that I had this one time when I first tried it. Oh, Siri thinks I'm talking to her. No, Siri, you don't get to tap with us today. The experience that I had with it was really so dramatic that it gave me that like appetite for more.
Right.
So first I used it in my own life for a number of years. And then I decided that, this is what I want to do now to help other women who were feeling really stuck like I was.
I think one thing that sticks out for me with your story is this idea of like, you weren't miserable. Like it was that it wasn't like your life was in absolute shambles. Like we think that sometimes things need to be really rock bottom to want to just seek some help or seek some avenues for feeling better. But it's okay to seek those avenues if we're maybe just feeling like there's room to do better. Like we're not miserable now, but maybe things are not exactly where we would love them to be or thought they might be by this time in our lives. And that's okay. And it's not a selfish thing to want to go and do more, try more to get to that place.
No,
that you
not at
ultimately want to
all.
be.
And, I avoided burnout. So I'm super grateful for that. A lot of women who do come to me have already hit that burnout stage, but we don't have to suffer.
Exactly.
In fact, I have a dear friend and a client who recently we were chatting and she was expressing gratitude that, I honestly, and she actually isn't, it's not to me, like I encouraged her to go somewhere else, but I was encouraging her, like, it's okay to get help, not just even self-help. Like we go to books. That's what I used to do. I have right now, I have an entire library still because now I use them for reference, but I have a library full of self-help books.
Yeah.
I'd read the books, watch the TED Talks, and there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But sometimes we can actually give ourselves permission to even do a little bit more. It's okay to pay for actual support.
Yes.
And I am personally, I've always been this way. I am somebody who wants to take the expedited route. So for example, working with you, Gemma, it's to me, I could fumble around trying to figure out how to have a profitable course. Or I could do that on my own. I could experiment for a long time, or I could dabble with some of the free things that are out there. I know with a lot of copywriters, you can sort of save all their emails and try and hack their system, right? If you want to do that, sure. But I feel very committed to, look, we only get one life, right? Yeah. I'm already 44. Why do I want to waste the next decade trying to fumble around and figure this out? Or if I can find someone who can help and support me on the journey that I'm on, then it's a really worthy exchange of time and money for their expertise. I'm give me the shortcut, teach me how to do this. I don't mean shortcut as in I don't want the fast solution or the easy pill. I just mean they know something I don't. I'm going to pay them for their support and expertise. So, and that's absolutely what I've done with you. And it has been such a gift and so worth the dollars, I have to say, so worth the dollars.
You're so kind, Jacqui. You light up sometimes my inbox with the kindest things, and it always makes me feel so good. It's the sweetest person.
I am a truth teller, so anyone who knows me personally would know. I am very effusive with my excitement or my endorsement of someone if it's true, but it has to be true. And so it's so easy to say that about you, Gemma, because it is the truth. I tell everyone literally, I'm if you are thinking about getting into online courses, just save yourself the trouble, tune out all the noise.
There's a lot of noise.
You want to go. There's a lot of noise out there. And I personally, again, I actually spent a lot of money and time fumbling around for a while with people who weren't able to help me. They're great intentions, but it was truly, it wasn't a waste of money because I learned along the way some some lessons that are still valuable, but for sure, hindsight is 2020. And if I had just found you earlier, it would have saved me, money and time. And so if I can save anyone else that, I'm like, you guys just like straight to Gemma, and that's where you want to be.
Well, thank you, Jacqui. Back to your work a little bit, because I want you to share a bit more about what it's like to be a student inside the Passive Project. But before we get to that, I would love for you to explain to people your main offers that you sell in your business, because they might be like, okay, Jacqui, you do tapping, but like, how does that translate into being a course creator or selling digital products? So what is it that, like, how have you designed your business within your industry to tap into this like course model?
Right. So obviously there is one-on-one work, and I know there are coaches or practitioners or helpers out there who don't want to do one-to-one work anymore. That's fine. I personally love it. I love one-to-one work. And I find that I do have some clients that that's what they want. They want to pay that higher ticket price. They want my 100% undivided time and attention. And again, they are in some ways like the shortcut person like I am, where, you know, that's what they believe is going to help them get there as quickly as possible. And that may be true. Like some of that can be true for some people. So that's fine. So I do have the one-to-one offer for sure. Limited time, right? Yeah. So you can only help so many people one-to-one. And I am a highly sensitive person. I have pretty clear boundaries on my time and energy. And so the one-to-one model for me, it was only going to allow me to help so many people and also grow my income to a very limited amount, right? So the core, and I love learning. I love being a student. And for me, offering an online course is such an awesome opportunity for me to get to continue to learn and share that with my students. And I love to be a student, and I know there are other people that love to be a student. So I'm like, well, this is
right here.
I
love it.
For those people. I love it.
I could be a student for the rest of my life.
I just started Steph Hall's Enneagram in Real Life course like 2 weeks ago. Oh my gosh. Like it's just a world of happiness over there. So that's, you know, I really loved developing my course, and I love to constantly optimize and improve it. It's like I'm constantly learning new things that I can continue to bring in. For me as an ideas person, it's like rein it in.
Yes.
Rein it in, right? It's like, let's keep a narrow focus for now. So that has been a challenge for me, but my main course is called Being Human Together. And it's a course community for self-compassion, emotional agility, and stress resilience. So those are the three foundations that we learn and that I teach in there as like very practical skills that will help you to dissolve that invisible wall that's keeping you stuck in a super practical way. And it's very different from what else is out there. Like self-compassion, not the most popular thing for entrepreneurs, because we tend to want to like, well, no, just like, I want to work harder. Like, how do I just need to know how to. But the truth really is, and I honestly would invite anyone to sit with this for a moment. If being hard on yourself worked, it would have worked by now. It really would have. So let's try another way. Self-compassion isn't like this weak, gentle, soft skill. It's a really robust practice, and it does take practice. Emotional agility, same thing. We are not taught emotional regulation as children. And so then you end up as a 44-year-old woman who needs to learn how to not be completely triggered by being visible on social media, let's say, right? And then stress resilience, because
if we've ever needed, I was going to say, if we've ever needed tips in stress resilience, it is now.
Well, and entrepreneurship, right? Involves a lot of stress. Parenting, I'm a mom. It involves a lot of stress, like daily life, going to Costco, lots of stress right there. So if we don't learn how to regulate our stress response, we're in real trouble. And so those are the three pillars. And we use EFT tapping to go from like the head knowledge to the heart knowledge, the lived experience. Like, yes, you can learn about self-compassion, emotional agility, and stress resilience. And I do teach that, but I learned a lot of things in my first 4 decades that I wasn't able to truly live out. So that was extremely frustrating, because I knew what I was supposed to be doing, or I knew the truth or the right thing or whatever we want to call it. But I found it really difficult to consistently like live that. And so that's what EFT tapping helps to support, is that actual transformation, as well as immediate relief. Like, honestly, when you tap, you just feel better quickly. And like, aren't we all here for that?
Yeah, I need to start doing it. I just started breath work. That's new for me.
Yeah.
And it feels great. And that was something that I was like, similar to you, like, it feels a little too woo, not sure. And I had a bit of like I actually had a bit of those like mountaintop moments with my first time doing breath work. And I was like, damn, that was amazing and powerful. So now I'm open to like all the things. Tapping is next on my list of, things that I'd like to try. And so tell people, how you have structured this program. So is it a cohort-based program? Is it one in which it continues over time? What does it look like from a student experience perspective?
Right. So it's ever evolving because I'm always learning what's best serving the students. So how I started it is not how it's continued, which has been very interesting for me. And I really enjoyed that process. So the course itself is 10 weeks in a course hub, and you get a new module every single week. There's a short video, there's some journal prompts, and there's a guided tapping session that goes with each week. And so, yes, you get access to them week after week, but I think life always happens. I mean, I've seen that in my own experience with Passive Project. So it's really like, my intention is to give people all the time and the space they need to get through the content in a pace that really honors where they're at. And inevitably, something's going to happen over 10 weeks. And inevitably, the story I hear from people, not in my course only, like in general, people have this feeling like, I'm behind, I'm getting behind, I bit off more than I can chew, I'm really overwhelmed. So you get lifetime access to it. So you get the course itself. You can take your time. If you don't get through it in 10 weeks, that's fine. With the course, now this is what I mean by it changed over time. My first cohort of students that I took through the course through live, after we were done the 10 weeks, they wanted to continue tapping together, because I also lead live group tapping sessions every other week with the course. And so that experience for them was, like I said, so transformational. They really created this like strong sense of community and support and empowerment, like a place to have like that common conversation. And because I'm there leading group tapping, and I'm always teaching something new, like your Q&A calls, right? They're just gold, because you bring something you're learning to us. And again, shortcut, because that way I get to learn it through you. And so I'm always doing some teaching, but the primary focus is tapping, and they wanted to continue that. So I created a community, a membership community outside of that based on their request. And you love data, right? We love conversions. And so that first group of students converted at 80% into the membership.
Isn't that incredible?
Really high. And I've had 0 churn so far. It's only 10 months old, but 0 churn.
Still, Jacqui, 10 months old and 0 churn. That's pretty amazing.
But I think that's when you, as an entrepreneur, when you're listening to what people are asking you,
100%.
You can create and offer that, right? Like, that's what they wanted, and I love it. So it's sort of evolved from there. So now with the course, that you do get lifetime access to the content, so it's self-paced, but it's not a DIY, because you get the live group tapping, and so you get invited into this membership community, and you get 3 months for free, so that you can really experience it. It helps you to do that group community tapping, which will guide you through some of what you're working through. Again, we honor boundaries. So like, if people don't want to share, you don't have to share. Like, there's no pressure to do anything. It just gives you the experience to move you along. And then if they want to continue after 3 months, they can. If not, I've created a beautiful little funnel that's automated, that gives them a how to unsubscribe, a little video. Like, it's so easy. I personally hate signing up for something that is free, and then I find out I'm getting charged like 3 months later. So transparency is critically important, right? And it's super easy. If people don't want to stay, they can unsubscribe. So far, that's not really happening very much. But, as we grow, we know that that's going to, eventually that'll be another thing I'll be dealing with, but not yet.
But what a great model to have built out, and to have done it in such a way where you are listening to your students in your community and building out what they are wanting, instead of you making a guess and then just crossing your fingers and hoping that it's going to work out. So, and I personally love the model, I've talked about this many times, of the sort of course as your initial main offer that people come into, with the membership on the back end to continue to work with you after, whatever point in time they're done with that program. That's what I have done myself with Course Creator School and the Passive Project. I built it backwards, but that's now how I've ended up. So tell us, Jacqui, a little bit about your experience inside of the Passive Project, because you've been now a member for quite some time. And for everybody who's listening, the Passive Project is my community and membership for experienced course creators like you. So someone who already has a program, they're looking to grow and scale their business. And you came in and like you just jumped into the community right away. What's your experience been like? What were some of the highlights, would you say?
Man, those Q&A calls, honestly, Gemma, what I tell people when I'm talking to them about joining your communities, I really think that the content itself in the course hub, like those, again, you're right. Actually, I hadn't thought about it, but you're right. Being human together is really similar in some of the ways that you've modeled the Passive Project. The course content itself is excellent. It's self-paced. I can jump into those little modules anytime, like if I'm working on my sales page and I want to just optimize that, or all of those little lessons, not little, those robust lessons that you've created, super, super helpful. For sure, love the content. But my favorite part about Passive Project is your Q&A calls. Like, I'm the nerd who shows up to everyone live. I'm like,
it's my favorite part of the membership too.
It's just really, so that's what I tell people when I'm talking to them about possibly joining, when they're looking for support for their course development. It's worth the investment into Passive Project in itself, like to have your attention and time and input, because whatever you're learning, you're teaching and you're ahead of us. So I always know like whatever Gem is bringing is going to just help me to continue down that path. Right. Anytime we also get the eyes of either you or one of your guest experts on our own business. So I personally had my welcome funnel edited by, well, not edited, but like audited. Audited. Thank you. I was like, what? It wasn't edited, but audited by a copywriter, as well as my sales page was, Danny Page gave me good advice, which is free for me. Yeah. Right. So, and guys, it's like thousands of dollars to hire Danny Page. Like these are incredible guest experts. I feel very proud of the guest expert lineup that we've had come into this year into the Passive Project. They've just been, in my opinion, just like incredible entrepreneurs who have so much wisdom to offer. Yeah, for sure. And not all of them have not resonated with me because I'm not where they are teaching at, like what they're teaching is not where I'm at. So then I can go back into that lesson because it's always in the hub and I can just go get that content when I'm ready. Like Facebook ads is not something I've tried yet, but I know that when I need to, I think, isn't it Melissa Litchfield is in there? Yes. And I love that. The other thing I really love is I really do love the community. Like I've actually created some really great entrepreneurial friendships out of the group. Those just sort of develop naturally over time, right? When you kind of start to see who you resonate with. And that has been really powerful because sometimes it feels like you're in business by yourself. And to have like-minded, like-hearted women to connect with has been great. And you can just pop into the group and ask a question and get some support. So I can't think of an example right now, but certainly like guaranteed when I'm doing Facebook ads, I'm going to be asking questions. Like that's like terrifying. I have to tap for myself on Facebook ads. Like, what are those and why should I be doing them? Yeah. So good, Jacqui. Thank you so much for that. I think it really helps to hear of other people's experiences, because if anyone is sitting on that fence or they've been thinking about joining and not sure if it's the right fit for them, just to hear you speak about it gives a lot of context to what it's like kind of on the inside, and can help people decide whether or not it's the right fit for them, because definitely it won't be the right fit for some folks, and it'll be just perfect for others who are like just at that stage in business and kind of ready to grow. And I agree with you. The Q&A calls for me. So what those look like for everybody who's listening is I show up once a month. We hop on Zoom. We say they're going to be an hour. They're usually more like an hour and a half. And I bring, they used to be just Q&A. And over the course of this past year, I've really shifted to having it be a model where I'm teaching usually for the first 45 minutes, some kind of hot topic. So whether that looks like
Like the most recent one was a pretty nerdy marketing talk where we got into talking about unique selling propositions and clarifying that for ourselves, and really going deep on some of our own messaging and how we position our offers in the marketplace. But other times it's been like me coming in and doing a really extensive debrief of the live launch that I just did. And if there's anywhere where I share the most raw transparency in terms of numbers and things that have worked and not worked, it's inside the Passive Project, because I think that there's nothing more valuable than really seeing that true behind the scenes to give you what you need to make decisions that are going to be the best for you and your business to move forward, and not like learn from what I'm doing basically. So yeah, they change every month. And to be honest, I don't plan them months and months in advance, because they are very of the moment. Like this world of digital marketing and being a course creator evolves quickly. And so if I were to say like, okay, in 6 months on my Q&A call, I'm going to talk about XYZ, I just don't think it would work, because it just might not be relevant in that moment. And so it is a bit more of a, like a real-time program kind of, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually, I jotted it down because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss this. And then you started talking about, which is hilarious, but I didn't want to forget, because actually, Gemma, I think that might be like my favorite thing about you personally, and then how you lead us in the Passive Project, is your transparency. It's really unusual. Like I've been in the entrepreneurial world for maybe 10 years. It's so unusual to find somebody who's willing to say like what's going on behind the scenes, what's gone well, what maybe didn't go as well. And like, that's okay. Like we have such a fear of failure, but failure is always, it really is just information, and it's part of the journey towards success. And I really have, it's helped me. So for anyone as an entrepreneur who, number one, has wasted money paying for other people's programs, and then for whatever reason it didn't help you. So you sometimes people have this concern about putting more money into something, because they're like, it's just going to be another thing I'm going to waste my money on. That is not going to be the case here. And the second thing is like, we really do have this, if you've been an entrepreneur for any amount of time, usually we have felt like you do get up against a wall sometimes, or we look at successful people and we just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And it just looks so unrelatable. Yeah. There's not a lot of honesty in, like, for example, what's the ad spend?
Yeah.
Like you were the first person, literally the first person I've ever heard talk about how much you invest in ads.
Yeah.
Or I know it doesn't seem ridiculous.
It's like, ridiculous. Well,
that's actually really important, because otherwise, to me, when I hear somebody say that they're making, let's just throw out a number, like 6 figures, like that sounds really, okay, great. I want to go for 6 figures. Well, but how much of that is actually still in your own pocket? Yes. And what did it take to get there? And how do you even build and scaffold and scale to that? So that to me is the highest value that you offer us. You literally show us like a map forward, and then it's helped me to build that resilience to like weather that discomfort. Like, for example, I'm making a joke about Facebook ads, but truly they do kind of intimidate me and worry me a little, but I'm like, okay, well, Gemma's done them. She's figured them all out. There's support from me in Passive Project. And it's always a little scary to start putting, like, let's say marketing dollars into your business as an example, like to invest money back into your business. But you take as much as possible, you take the guesswork out. Like, yes, there's going to be some, right? Like there's a learning process, but that transparency helps me to know that it's going to be okay. And we need that. I mean, that's the work that I do with tapping. I just do it in a different way. Right. We have to really trust that this is going to be okay. And we can actually tolerate it. We can learn, we can move forward. You know, it's going to be, there's a way through this. So thank you always for being transparent. And yeah, I'm here for all of it.
Yay. Well, Jacqui, let everybody know where, if they're interested in learning more about you or tapping, where can they find you? Do you have any like resources you want to point them in the direction of? Give us all the scoop.
So I find like most of the time, okay, so 2 things, science-based, right? So if you get on my email list, you're going to find all sorts of little sciencey nuggets. I don't talk about it all the time. So if you're not into the science, it's not going to bore you to death, but I love to, like, I just threw out a little study actually that's really recent to my email list yesterday about tapping in menopause, like how it supports, I know, super interesting. So yes, you're going to want to hop on there, but also the experience of tapping. Like, we really need to judge if this helps me. Like, how does it feel for me? And you're not always going to get the mountaintop experience the very first time. So you may not get Gemma's breathwork experience the very first time you tap. That's okay. But giving it a try to at least kind of experience it. So I created a free 10-minute guided tapping session. It helps you shift from any feelings of like overwhelm or anxiety, or just like that general like mental chatter, the mental like load of the to-do list, into a state of like calm, grounded, and really clear about how you want to move through your day. So it's a 10-minute guided session. You get an audio session or an video or audio, either one. And you can grab it at experience.jacquiacree.com.
Experience.jacquiacree.com. Perfect. We'll make sure that's linked with this, but I think I'm going to go download it because that squirrely brain thing happens in my head all the time. And yeah. And especially in moments where, like right now in my business, we've got lots of exciting things going on. There are things that I'm really jazzed to be a part of, but it just means that there's more going on in my brain, and it's hard to quiet that voice down from time to time. So a 10-minute no, I couldn't.
Sorry guys, my puppy is barking in the background. She's dreaming. She's dreaming. Sorry to interrupt you, Gemma. But so I'm like, cute. I just wanted everybody to know that's what the noise is. I want to make it weirder than that. Yes, I know. We get monkey mind, right? We truly literally get monkey mind. I think it is a unique burden to women. I'm not saying that men don't struggle with this at all, but think about the mental load of a woman who's either building a business, parenting, and if they're not a parent, it doesn't matter. There's just
caretaking often for various people.
Caretaking everything. And so we need to build resilience in that stress response, because that will catalyze stress in our bodies. Like, it literally feels like that tiger's breathing down your neck. So then how do we create that resilience, calm everything down so we can access like that like empowered, resourced, really powerful self?
No, that's incredible. I know for me, it shows up, like it actively shows up with digestion issues. Like, and the minute my symptoms start up, I'm like, okay, Gemma, this is you being too stressed and having too much monkey mind right now. Like, let's start to activate some of those things that can help us reduce the stress. So
it usually shows up, guts, insomnia, or like sleep problems. For me, it's actually headaches. Right. So I get lots of headaches. So aches and pains in the body. Well, the body, honestly, I mean, it does keep the score. So it'll tell you if we can learn to listen to it. And that's again why midlife, right? Because by midlife, like in your 40s, new things are happening every day. And you're like, what is that? But the body's getting a little tired. It's like, I've been trying to get your attention for a long time. You're ignoring me. So I'm going to have to get louder. And we do not want it to need to get louder. We want to listen to the yellow flag. Don't let it go red.
Go red. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, let's end on that note. Jacqui, thank you so much for coming on today. So appreciate it. And we will see you guys around soon. Thanks, Jacqui.
Yay. Thank you.